Hey, so I was just listening to a video or whatever, a message from a video, and I was thinking she was speaking of, you know, the poisons that we put into our body. And knowingly or unknowingly, either way, you choose to, you trust people. Okay, so she's talking about the links between the uh, medication given for the most recent crisis and the links to cancer and how it had to be the devil because they're making so much money off of that. So there were some things that she was hitting on that I knew a little bit more information about. People give consent by, it's a trial study. Yes, it was, and I know this because I did the research back when it was all going on, until I believe it said July, I think it was, one was like July 2023 or 4, and one was the July 20, or sometime in 2027. So the trial studies that she was speaking of were on monkeys, and on every case it gave the monkeys cancer. Okay, you have to remember that we live in duality. That means sorry, that we live in duality. That means that there is both opposites. So in everything, and the yin and the yang, the black and the white, the hot and the cold, masculine, feminine. And the key to this is to learn to find sovereignty and balance in all things. Okay, so do I believe that the people that created this medication were pure evil? She said it must be evil, or it must be Satan. That's neither here nor there. Everything here is created through humans, whether we're talking about evil or good or medication or even this pen. It was a thought before it was a reality, and now I hold it in my hand. Okay, the same with everything. So do I think that the intentions behind that medication were to cause everybody to have cancer? I don't know that that is true, because I can't imagine that every single person that contributed to the creation and idea behind that was pulled from the ethers, which means it was an idea that God gave us. You know, it was from the Creator. If it's created, it's from the Creator. I do not believe that every person involved is evil. I do not believe that every person involved is Satan or has bad intentions for the collective, for all of humanity. I don't believe that. It couldn't possibly be true. What I do believe, however, if for some reason that the person or people at the top as parts of the highest points of this creation had the intention to cause illness, I also know for certain that if the Creator allowed it, and even though it looks dark and scary, because we live in duality and that is part of this reality, the Creator will turn it and make a miracle out of it. God makes miracles every single day. If you don't believe that, you aren't looking around. You don't see that you are the miracle. You don't see that that us being at this point in our creative evolution is a miracle. Okay, so that being said, even if there's the worst situation, even if it looks all doom and gloom, and I've had this, and I know this firsthand because in my life I've had many really, really messed up situations imposed upon me. But I'm not a victim. By any means, I will never be a victim. I've never been a victim because life doesn't happen to me. It happens for me. And I know this because what I'm telling you, that's how I know this. That God takes that something terrible, the worst of the worst, and He can turn it into the greatest blessing that you have ever known, beyond your wildest dreams. Like, so people live, but the thing is, if you live in fear of, on either extreme, if you're either extreme of that, either polar extreme of that duality, either dark or light, they're both an illusion. That's not true. Where you have to find peace, where you have to find healing, is in that balance, understanding the whole. As above, so below, as within, so without. So we live in a physical reality, or we're a spiritual being existing in a physical reality. So what does that mean? Is it actually physical? Because everything is energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It comes directly from source energy, God. Okay, so, but we can manipulate it, we can transmute it, we can transform it. So a lot can be done. So whenever you're talking about your physical reality, you are literally creating that actual physical reality out of energy, which energy is never solid. It's not mass. Matter is not solid. I don't care what anybody says. It's not. They're lying about that. That's for you to figure out on your own. So just because it's solid in front of me does not make it actually solid. It only is because I'm perceiving it, because I am human, and the light within me and the eyes that God's given me to see, the God within me sees it, creates it, manifests it into existence. Okay, so that's all of our reality is just that way. Therefore, you as a human being, we are all made this way. And once you understand it, and they say, the woke community says, understand it. So you understand what I'm saying, but understand it means you've accepted it to be your truth. Okay? And whenever they say overstand, what they're saying is you're able to look at something from a perspective above, like an observer, unattached or detached, unemotional, unbothered by it, just observing what's going on, like watching ants in a freaking ant colony. The glass thing, kind of like that. So that's what overstand. Understand is it's your belief now. You made that your own belief, and then understand is okay. I understand what you're saying, but that doesn't make it your belief. So once you understand all these things, once you have all the standings, you have the ability to shift that. So you've heard the figure of speech. Your thoughts create your reality. How that works is just this. So for me, during that time when we were all on lockdown, at first I was very, very afraid because I have asthma, and all that I could think was, oh no, I'm gonna die alone in a hospital room when I won't have anybody around me, and I'm gonna suffocate to death. I was microwaving our mail, really. I wouldn't let anybody come in and out of our house. I was terrified. And then something hit me and I was like, are you really going to let fear paralyze you? Something else is going on here. There's something bigger to all of this. And so I started to do research. And when I say research, I'm saying night and day, night and day, night and day. Like I was obsessed. But I gained a greater understanding of a lot of things. That all is not what it seems. What you've been taught and told, very little of it, if any of it, is accurate. Most of it is inaccurate. Told to you by people that you love and trust that did it with the best of intentions, not to be dishonest with you, but it's the truth that they, as they knew it at the time, they did the best they knew with what they did the best they could with what they knew. They didn't know. They didn't have the ability to know at the time, but now is the time to know better. So you have to understand that you have to release everything you've ever been taught to believe, all of your core beliefs. They're not true. It's all not true. And you have to be willing to release that to be able to manifest in your own reality. So what I came to understand was just that. Like, I don't know why, but that's bothering me. But fortunately for me, I can really quickly just let something go. Cut a person off, I don't care. If I realize that it is not in my best interest, that it is not serving me or they are not serving me, if I can come to the understanding that I don't believe that, I don't agree with that. You have to ask yourself within. Nobody outside of you can tell you what you understand. That's something that resonates with you, and every person is different. I can't sit here and tell you that. I can't stand here and tell you inner understanding. Anyway, I can't tell you that I know what your understanding should be. I don't. I couldn't. And anyone that tells you what it is or should be is incorrect, because that's between you and your creator, source energy, your God inside. The only way to get those answers is to go inside and ask. You have to ask, or it is not given. Ask and it is given. That's even in the Bible, whether you're like Christian or not, whether you're spiritualist or not. Everything has meaning. Everything. There's nothing by mistake in your reality. Not a single thing. It's just, what a coincidence. There's no such thing. Everything is a clue for what you need to do next. Everything is a clue for your own growth. You set this reality with your thoughts create your reality. You set up this in order for you to understand what's going on, to come to an acceptance, because this really, all of this that we're going through, life, what's the point of life? Well, first and foremost, you need to realize it is not all about you. It's not. Because ultimately, we are one. Unity consciousness is the goal here. So everything is set up in your divine matrix for you to come to the understanding that your answers are within. And when you go within, one thing I can guarantee every person is going to come to understand or understand, whatever, that the overstanding that simply we are one. Unity consciousness is the only way to be. And that does not mean that you don't have your own way of thinking, own identity, that there aren't differences. No, that is not what that means. Not even a little bit. What that means is it's just a simple understanding that every decision we make it ripples through time and space. It affects everyone. And you don't know the magnitude of your power until you understand that. And so once you begin to understand that, you will see how beautiful all souls are. All humans are. Even the worst of the worst, they are serving a purpose because they are teaching you lessons. They are teaching you what, the answers, the wants are found in the contrast. So by you don't know what you want, well, the universe or God's going to give you a whole bunch of what you don't want so that you do know what you want. Nothing happens to you. You're not a victim. It happens for you, and it was created by you. Truly. So back to the medication and the perpetuation of trying to make money off of illness and others and other humans that are not aware. Your awareness is key here. Like, I'm sorry, I need a drink. Your awareness is key because once you're aware, because when you're unaware, the people that are aware have the power, that kind of power over you. They do know what they're doing to a degree, and they're working in dark energy. I'm not saying every single one of them, but if they're doing it for money on the backs of another human being's free will and against their knowledge because they're uninformed or ignorant, that is of the dark. But there's always a balance. There's always going to be a balance. If there isn't, there is. There will always be a balance. This is a test of energy. It's a school. It's not a test of the human being. Life is not supposed to be a struggle. We create the struggle with resistance. You're resisting what is true to you by listening to what everyone says. So, back to that medicine, whenever you take that medicine because you're fearful, living in fear will create resistance. So, I got out of fear. I thought, I am the one that has dominion over myself. I am the one who decides what exists in my reality and what does not. And the day I decided that, I took my power back. I decided, nope, that epidemic does not exist in my reality, nor does the medication for it. I don't need it. My family doesn't need it. And I was absolutely accurate. I never had it, and I'm like what they would call more susceptible to get it, because I have an autoimmune with asthma, and so do my children. So none of us ever got it. None of us have gotten it. None of us have got it. None of us will get it, because I am the one in our reality that knows how to create their own reality, and I am the one that makes the rules on what exists and what does not exist. So if you believe, and this is true, you can do a little research, and I promise, that it'll, sorry, and that was, I got a message saying you should do the research, because God is giving this message to you, is what I was told to say. That's why I just hesitated, but this message is from God. I do channel information through me to God. Through me to God, to the God in you, I guess, but God channels messages through me to you. So, do your research. I encourage you to do your research, because if you can prove me wrong, if everything that I say isn't true, I will make a public stance on that, but I promise what I'm saying to you is completely accurate. I would not tell a lie. I am sent here to tell the truth. And that's what I intend to do. So do not be fearful. Fear is an illusion. There is no need for it. You are an eternal being, a spiritual eternal being, having a human experience. But understand that it's so much bigger than just you. By shifting that perspective, that perception, me, myself, just in my own reality, you don't understand how my perception change, that shift it ripples across time and space, and it allows so many to have that understanding. In many ways, both energetically before it's created in the physical, like what's happening now, and also in the physical, like what's happening now, that helps others to have that same understanding. Anything else? Okay, no, nothing else. So that's it. Yeah, thanks for listening. Also, don't forget, always forget to say this, but don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and really do share, because I've set the intention that only the people that need this message will receive it, and no weapons formed against me shall prosper. This is my energy, my power, and my intention is, above all else, to be helpful to humanity as a whole. to the unity consciousness. And so it is. Thanks, guys.